how about you guys, if you stick your blue electronic hand in the air, if you want to share with us about emotional sobriety, what you've heard so far from Polly, or if you don't know how to do that, if you chat to us, we can come and find you. Would we like to have some Q&A? Hold on, I need to go up. I'm still at the bottom. Katie. There you go. Go ahead, Katie.
Hi, my name's Katie from Gainesville, Florida.
My God, that's my Katie.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. I always have a million questions for you, but just listening to you warms my heart. I was on another meeting with my mom this morning, and I know how grateful it is for you when you get to be in a meeting with James and Russ. And, I just love you. And I appreciate especially when you're talking about emotional sobriety, because, I'm still new at this game. And it just, you know what it does for me? It fires me up for recovery. That's what you do for me, Polly, and I love you.
I love you too, Katie. Oh my God, love you so much.
Thank you, Katie. Evelyn.
Hi, I'm Evelyn from Wheaton, Illinois, and I just wanted to I just wanted to comment on your enthusiasm, Polly. I love your enthusiasm for 80 years of age. I turned 70 this year, and I'm trying not to feel old. And so I need to be around people who, like you, who are so enthusiastic. I have a wonderful friend who's 91, and she's so young and alive. And so people like you are really showing me that it's just a number, and I'm still alive. I'm still upright. My dad always used to say that. And so thank you for your share. And I love your sharing, your honesty on the defects of character. But you're even putting a positive spin on that. And I love it. I love that you have solutions, which are just so helpful. So thanks. I'm so excited. I come here every time you have these workshops, and I just love them. I tell them, tell everybody about them as well, because they're just so powerful. And I love you, and I thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you,
Evelyn. Joe from London, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I can. Polly, thank you very much. I've been gripped. I'm writing on my notes here and everything. I've just had a full-on Al-Anon day today. I tell you, it's been absolutely wonderful. Started in London Bridge. I'm ending in California. And I'm doing step 6 with my sponsor tomorrow morning. I'm in a step 6 day. And you were like character defects. I was like, quick, paper. Thank you so much. It's just been so wonderful. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Yvonne and your team, you do so much wonder. I love your weekends and your days and everything. Well, you know that. I've stuck the updated London list in the chat, and there's some ones scattered on there from other parts of England as well. So if anybody wants any tips, Yvonne's been over quite a few times, so she'll be able to tell you as well. But Polly, thank you so much. I've got some more stuff to speak to my sponsor about tomorrow. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Joe. Anne J.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you, Polly, for this. I've come to several of these workshops. I absolutely love them. I am, however, I question it a lot. And so I think I'm 4 years into Al-Anon. I have of late begun to see like my selfishness and self-centeredness. I grew up in a family of my sister was mentally ill. My mother's, whatever she was, both had very severe eating disorders. It was a household of a lot of fear and anxiety. And I used to always think they're so selfish. Why are they so selfish? And it's a little shocking to realize that I've developed that as well. So I see it, I feel it. The problem is that I guess I'm really like, when you say the problem is you, I go immediately into resistance. Like, I can kind of feel it, but then I go into like nah, I don't think that's really true. Like, I hear it with some part of my brain, and then there's that other, the committee in the head is like, no, yeah, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's hard for me though. And I find like, I love it. And I get such relief when I'm in these workshops. Like, I believe and I feel the faith around what people are saying. And then I like get off the Zoom or whatever. And I'm like, nah, forget it. Or I use it to beat myself up, right? I'm like, I'm so selfish and self-centered. And then I go immediately into, and you need to change so that I can feel better. So I'm just wondering, like, I don't know. I guess, I don't know if this is a Q&A or I'm just sharing. I don't know. I'd love your thoughts on that, because it's hard to believe that it's really a matter of me changing. It's like, it's hard. And I don't know if that's where faith comes in. So that's kind of, I'm throwing it out there. Again, I'm not sure if we're in a Q&A or whatever, but if you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone involved in this as well.
And fabulous question. Fabulous. And thanks for your honesty. And let me just tell you, it is very, very, the ego does not like to admit it's wrong. The ego does not want it to be my problem. The ego does not. But that's what we're trying to level here, is the ego. Also in the Al-Anon as well as the alcoholic. And I want to give you a statement that I learned a long time ago. And I learned this from a beautiful Al-Anon woman. And it's said in AA all the time as well. Thank God my problems are of my own making. Because if they're of your making, I have to wait for you to get better before I can get better.
Thank you, Polly. Joanne. Joanne there you are.
Yeah. Hi, I was just trying to turn my camera on, and I'm sorry, but I'm in New York, and I'm in the store, but I have been listening to this workshop since it came on, and I've heard you speak before, Polly, but I have never been on this AWB workshop before, so this is my first time. And I just want to say that it was exactly what I needed. I need to be punched in the head, and you gave me a punch in the head today. And I just want to say how grateful that I am. AA and Al-Anon, they are such, and I go to both fellowships. They are just simple programs. The problem is me. The problem is me. No matter what happens, no matter what goes on, I have to look at myself. And you taught me that today. I was struggling with something that happened on Thursday. And, and I'm exhausted. I am just tired. I'm tired of going through the same thing over and over and over. And I have to look at myself. I heard somebody say throughout this pandemic that I must forgive everybody for everything, real or imagined. Because I want to be at peace. I want to be happy, so I just want to thank you, Polly. I really, really do. And I'm going to come to when you have your next AWB workshop, I will definitely be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joanne. Welcome.
Thank you.
And happy shopping. You look lovely. You look like Debbie from California. Can you unmute yourself, Debbie? There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right, thank you for getting my call. Yeah, she did look like there was was ready for the battle, so good for her. Thank you so much, Polly. You know, when you were talking, I had this image, and I wanted to share it with you. There's a table, and on the table is a liquid drink, right? A glass of liquid drink. And we come into a program and we dump that liquid out, right? And now we have that clear glass of sobriety. But behind that glass, there's 12 to 20 other glasses full of emotional drink. And so now I have to look at that fear drink. Now I've got to look at the envy drink. Then I've got to look at the anger drink. Then I've got to look at the jealousy drink. Now, all these glasses are full. And now how am I going to do that? Well, behind those drinks is a pitcher of water. Not just any water. God's water. So as soon as I take that fear and empty it out, like I did the first drink, I can fill it with God's holy divine water and forgiveness and love. And eventually all my glasses will be filled with that water. And the pitcher will never be empty. That's a miracle, the whole program. That pitcher never is empty. So that's the image I had of when you were talking. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you so much. It made my day.
Thank you.
Your talk.
Thank you, honey.
Linda G.
Hey, Polly. This is Linda from Georgia.
Oh, hi, Linda.
How you doing, baby?
Good.
It's good to see you. I owe you a phone call to bring you up to date on the conversation that we had at Woodstock. I just wanted to say thank you, like everybody else. I think I'm a Polly P groupie, and you know I've worn out I don't know how many sets of emotional sobriety CDs over the years, carrying them around in my car. But I never get tired of hearing this workshop, and I know that I can listen to many recordings, but it's so awesome to be able to see your face when you're sharing. And the thing that I'm always reminded of the most is that it really is the language of the heart, that we really are the same, no matter which program we're in. We've all been affected by the disease of alcoholism. And in my Al-Anon program, of course, it's all about emotional sobriety. I'm not falling down. I'm not falling down drunk. You don't see my slips. They're all in my head. They're in my little, attitudes. They're in all that kind of stuff. And so this particular share from Bill has always been, precious to me in my recovery. And I think the first time I ever heard you do it was probably, early 90s, maybe at a Ladybug or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, it's great to see you, and it's great to hear you. And I appreciate everything that everybody has shared. And so, yeah, I'll call you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Is there anybody else who would like to say something? Polly, it's been asked. We need repeat. Could you repeat again that, thank God, my problems are of my own making? And by the way, you guys, this is being recorded, so you can always go find it. But Polly, would you please repeat that again, because not everybody got it.
Thank God my problems are of my own making, because if they were of your making, I'd have to wait for you to get better before I got better.
I've heard it said in Al-Anon that, thank God I am my own problem, because if I'm not the problem and you are the problem, then I am powerless to change anything, because I can't change you. I can only change myself. So I love the way you say that. And Nina, you were right. Nina put it in there. She said, I think it was something like this: thank God my problems are of my own making and not your making, because if they were of your making, I'd have to wait for you to get better before I could get better. Nina got it really good. So you guys, thank you. Well, Polly, it looks like they just want to listen to you. So I'll go back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to be finishing up this workshop. But one of the things I want to do is give a really big shout out for all the stuff that you're doing with this workshop. I am the grandmother of a profoundly deaf grandson. So I am so grateful anytime I am anywhere. He's not in AA, but I am so grateful when I'm anywhere that they recognize our deaf community. I am so grateful that this is part of what's going on with this workshop. And I'm just so grateful. My grandson is 27 years old. He was mainstreamed into school. He ended up going, he had parents, we all learned to sign. Everybody in the family got behind this kid, and we learned how to do this. And Ryan is 27 years old today. Not today, is 27 years old. It's not his birthday today. He ended up going to Rochester Institute of Technology, which has a huge deaf community. That was the college he went to. However, because he had been mainstream, he was in the regular university and with an interpreter. So he ended up graduating. He is a civil engineer today, and he builds bridges. And I want you to know that he is a deaf man who is not handicapped in any way. He travels the world. He travels the world alone and with people. He is an amazing man. And I just want to give a big shout out to the people who are bringing the message to the deaf community. Thank you.
Thank you, Polly. Thank you. And I'm excited that now he can listen to his grandmother, if he wants to in the future, talk about sobriety, the whole talk. I think that's exciting. He wants to.
We got lots of alcoholics now in our family. I didn't know a single alcoholic when I came to AA. I didn't know anybody who was an alcoholic. And now I've produced alcoholics. And I have my daughter-in-law, that was Katie, who she shared earlier from Gainesville. Her and her mother and her sister have played a big part in my daughter-in-law's life. And there's a bunch of us now. And it's amazing. We're so blessed.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for absolutely an amazing format. Thank you for this conference. Okay, let's talk about fear. Nothing is more self-centered than fear. This short word somehow touches every aspect of our lives. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. Sometimes we think fear ought to be classified with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. Fear takes from us. It steals all of our peace of mind. It steals our self-confidence. It steals the truth from us. And that's on page 67 and 68 in the big book. We are not talking about healthy fear. Now, there is this fear that if you're going to cross a street and you see a car, step back up on the curb. That kind of thing is not what we're talking about. We're talking about this fear that has most of the time doesn't have a reason. It is healthy to be afraid of taking a drink or crossing the street on a red light. Unhealthy fear is being afraid to look for a job or go back to school, go out of town, or just talk to people. A lot of people have phobias which debilitate them, and spiritual progress is paralyzed. And the demons move into our psyche where they live rent-free. until driven out. We have to be able to that's why we have an inventory, so we can inventory our fears and see which one. I mean, we're not going to jump out in front of a truck and just say, I have no fear, I will not be hit. I mean, that's ludicrous. But what we're talking about is the kind of fear that paralyzes us. Solution: walking through fear is exercising faith. Nowhere in the first 164 pages in the big book does it say you cannot have fear and faith at the same time. You can. Some examples. What it says in the big book is, the verdict of the ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. You don't need courage unless you are afraid. Practice courage by walking through fear after doing steps 4 and 5. It's like a soldier. A soldier has fear, but he has courage, has faith. And we can have faith and fear at the same time. That does not mean that we don't have faith when we have fear. Courage is having faith. And we have courage when we are afraid. The fear prayer on page 68 in the big book says, we ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he would have us be. Then it says, at once we commence to outgrow fear. It doesn't say we outgrow fear. We commence to outgrow fear. Folks, I'm still commencing. I'll tell you, I've walked through a lot of fear in the past 5 years. I've watched my husband come so near death so many times. I've walked through fear. So we're commencing. Life is going to keep giving us life. This is going to happen. Life is in session. Just because we're sober in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous does not mean that life is not in session. It's in session. And we're going to be constantly having challenges such as this. Steps 6 and 7, fear. It does not say we outgrow fear. Steps 6 and 7, fear. Know what we are walking through. Fear, we are making amends to ourselves and those we have hurt because of our fear. How many times have you feared something and harmed another person? Fear can hurt other people. Fear can be that you don't show up and you're not accountable. Maybe you were supposed to. One of the things is I have a sponsee who was so afraid of flying that she was afraid to get on an airplane, and she was asked to speak somewhere. And what got her through the fear was to be responsible, to show up to that speaking commitment. She got on that airplane and she did it. And she exercised faith while walking through fear. Continue to watch for fear in step 10 and 11. Every day we're going to have fears come up in our lives. We look for them. We watch for them. And make corrective measures when necessary. The big book says on page 86 and 84, after making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. This is not an overnight matter. We should continue it for a lifetime. As God is in charge, therefore, all is well. Fear can erode our faith if we are slack about our commitment. And we must remember on page 155 of the ODAT, it says, we realize peace of mind does not depend on conditions outside of us, but those inside of us, because there can be a lot of scary things going outside of us. Okay, let's go to the solution. Did I do this? Oh, I already had that. Sorry, I've got that solution written twice. Okay, blame. Is there anybody who rides the blame train? Is all my problems because of something somebody else did to me? That certainly probably contributes to a lot of the way I'm thinking and what happens, but I can recover from anything. I can recover from whatever has happened. A keen emotional beverage with blame, all inhibitions and self-defects are freed and vented on all those faltering, imperfect creatures out there. I take my blame out on everybody. If I am blaming people for what has happened to me, and I am this old, I need to start finding a solution for what is going on inside of me. I cannot ride the blame train. As long as I blame people for what has happened to me, I am paralyzed. I am absolutely paralyzed. As long as a person can hold his blame, he feels he need not sober up and take a look at himself. When intoxication from blame begins to wear off, we can keep the buzz going by mixing his drinks, usually shots of criticism, intolerance, resentment, and dishonesty. A need to assign blame is an attempt to evade our part in the adventures of life that go wrong. One of the things that happens is we blame others for what has happened to us. It is very hard to take responsibility for everything that has gone wrong with me. And that is especially hard when we're dealing with childhood abuse, childhood trauma, all of those things that we blame. But there is so much help. There is so much help that is available. And in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, do not keep yourself from getting all the help you can get. I forget exactly how it's worded. Let me see if I can get the exact words, because I think it's really important. And it's in the family afterwards. Anyway, I somewhere in the family afterwards that a body badly burned by alcohol, it has hurt everybody, people around us. People have suffered huge trauma, huge abuses for people who have harmed them. Just go and get yourself all the help that you can get from anything, from people who are out there that can help you. Because the world has given us, here it is. But this does not mean that we disregard human health measures. God has abundantly supplied this world with fine doctors, psychologists, and practitioners of various kinds. There's a lot of people who practice a lot of different things. Do not hesitate to take your health problems to such persons. Most of them give freely of themselves, but their fellows may enjoy sound minds and bodies. Get help. If you have issues that need help and you are still blaming others and you're still miserable, because that will never help you. Blaming other people will never solve your problems. Go get some help. I can't say that enough. So, and again, it's just when we go back to the big book, it says our problems we think are basically of our own making. And it is, if you're still hanging on to it and you haven't sought out any help for it, then the problems of your own are of your own making. I did not get sober until I reached for help. People have not found solutions for the people they love until they reached out for help in Al-Anon and got some help. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. I need to reach out and get help. I need to see to it that I reach to the people that can help me. Get a sponsor, get help, get all the help you can. That's what these programs are for, is for us to get all the help we can get. And even the book says to do it. Don't shortchange yourself. Get all the help you can get. I can't encourage you enough that there is help out there. There is help that we can love and live with. Practicing alcoholics. We can love. I have watched women live with the practicing alcoholics. There was a time before Al-Anon, I thought if Dave drank that was a deal breaker. Well, I'm watching all kinds of women who are married to alcoholics, who've had sobriety, who've relapsed, who've gone through Al-Anon, and these people are sober again. We can get help. There is a solution. There is a solution. And I can live and forgive anything. Today, I know that. And I didn't know that before. Depression. I am going to talk about depression. And I am a person who has suffered a lot of depression. And I am a person who has been treated for depression way back when I was a military wife. I was a military wife, and it was no problem to get any kind of drug you thought, that there was out there for depression. I took all kinds of tranquilizers and barbiturates and things to treat my depression. And again, I want to say, I am not talking about clinical depression. I am talking about self-centered fear and self-centered depression. And what I would love to say is that a definite depression, it's a definite emotional downer. I don't know when's the last time you've been around somebody who's depressed, but oh my God, is that heavy. Depression plunges one into an abyss of remorse, regret, rejection. We float around in an eternal hell, unable to sense ballast or touch solid ground. Our emotional vision is blurred. We cannot see the helping outstretched hand. When I am in depression, I cannot see how many people are trying to help me and how many people are trying to cheer me up. I'm just all down and out of it. Our emotional hearing is dulled. We cannot hear words of encouragement and strength. Our emotional touch is deadened and we cannot feel love. Our emotional taste is that of isolation and melancholy. Our emotional smell is weakened. We are unable to perceive the essence of harmony and fellowship. The whole being is so drugged by depression that realistic contact with self and others is suspended. Now, if you work with anybody who is depressed, and I'm going to say this for myself, there is nothing more self-centered than depression. Because I can tell you, when I am depressed, I think of no one but myself. And today, I have tools with depression. thank God I've had people work with me who were depressed. And when I work with somebody that's depressed, what I try to do is give them things to do. Make your bed, take a shower, get up and call another alcoholic. One of the things that I really think is I say call 3 alcoholics and ask how they're doing. And if they ask how you're doing, you say, I never had it so good. And they'll say to me, but that's lying. You can't say that. And I said, so lie. What happens is if you tell yourself enough that you never had it so good, all of a sudden you start never having had it so good. And I know what depression is, and I can feel it coming on. All of us can feel it. If you are subject to depression, you know who you are. If you have that, you know what it feels like. And I don't get into any medication things. I am not a person who is against medication, but I don't get into any of that. That's totally for doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists. That's not for me. But I'm talking about the depression that we bring upon ourselves that causes us to be immobilized. And that depression can be treated with me taking actions contrary to the way I feel. Calling people, asking how they are, making my bed, taking a shower, put on makeup, get dressed, call another alcoholic, take actions I don't want to take. Take those actions, and then what happens is those actions start to change my feelings, and my feelings start to change me. I need to take an action contrary to the way I feel. And if I take those actions, I start to feel better. I do everything I can to ward off depression. I sponsor a lot of women, and I don't sponsor, and at first it looks like I'm a really great woman. I work with a lot of people. I'm into a lot of service. Believe me, it's a very selfish act. I work with a lot of women because when I work with them, they help me. I do a lot of service because when I'm in service, it makes me feel better. I do it because it makes me feel better. And I love it. When I came to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I read everything I could read on Bill W. That's what I was saying when I read The Language of the Heart. I read everything I could read on Bill W. And what he says is go help somebody. I was blessed to know an amazing man in Southern California by the name of Frank Honeycutt. And anybody who was touched by his life was touched. And all Frank would ever say is, if you want to feel better, go help somebody. Just go do something for somebody else and you're going to feel better. And I know for me, the greatest treatment for depression is to go work with another alcoholic. Go do something in Alcoholics Anonymous to get out of self. Today, I can be out of self and be a caregiver for my husband. I can do that today. And I never could do that for my first husband. I could not take care of him because I was so into self. I couldn't do it. And by God's grace, I can do that today. And how I learned how to do that is working with another alcoholic. I learned how to do that by having the privilege of working with alcoholic women in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Go to detoxes. I go to detoxes because I was in treatment and people came to treatment and brought me the message. I go to halfway houses. I go to jails. I go to anywhere I can go and carry the message of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't know if anybody in that room gets a thing out of it, but I walk out of there with the feeling that Bill had in Bill's story. And he said, today I know usefulness. Today I know usefulness. Today I know I can be a useful human being on this planet by going and reaching my hand out to another woman or man or anybody. And the programs of Al-Anon and AA are just in life. Just go see if you can help somebody, and it will be lifted. Solutions. Huge doses of attitude of gratitude, practicing the steps and working with others. We need a willingness to surrender this unique pain. Sobriety follows quickly when one can be grateful for pain rather than struggling with it. I am grateful that I have depression today. You know why I'm grateful? Because if I didn't have depression, I wouldn't have to work so hard at this program. And because I have to work so hard at this program, I get to have the life I have today. And I am so passionately in love with AA and Al-Anon. And I am so grateful that I am privileged to be able to be an alcoholic. I love that I am an alcoholic. I love that I have the 12 steps. I am so grateful that my children are out today. I wasn't grateful then because today they're both sober, but because of their disease, it sent me to Al-Anon. And today I'm grateful for Al-Anon. So I don't even hate alcoholism. Because I have it, I'm a better person because I have a program. And because of depression, I have to keep working because I don't want to be depressed. And if I rest on my laurels, I will get depressed. And if I get depressed, I will drink again. And I do not want that. I want to have the feelings I have. I had a sponsor, my second sponsor, Dottie Harris. She used to say, Polly, and every day in your prayers, please pray for a servant's heart. Pray for a servant's heart. And today I pray for a servant's heart. And I am given that servant's heart. And I am so grateful that it makes me feel better to work with another alcoholic and to be of service. Gratitude brings release. Release brings experience. Experience brings hope. Hope brings faith. And faith brings freedom from fear. I wish to know happiness, peace, and usefulness, and a way of life that is incredibly more wonderful as it passes. A body badly burned by alcohol does not often recover overnight, nor do twisted thinking and depression vanish in a twinkling. We are convinced that a spiritual mode of living is most powerful health restorative. A spiritual awakening takes place, a rebirth occurs, and one is never the same again. And I thank you so much for allowing me to share with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Polly. You guys, let's unmute and give her a hand.